Hello and welcome to Forgotten Tech, and this is going to be a short series looking at some gadgets, devices and software that I'd bought in the past, and I was convinced it'd be the next big thing, but it wasn't to be. We're going to look at what was good and bad about these devices, why they didn't take off, and if there's anything out there today that fulfills the promise of those early steps. To kick off, we're going to look at a camera that's close to my heart, the Samsung Gear 360. If you took a photo or video on this camera, there was nowhere to hide. Hitting that shutter button and you would capture everything, skies, ceilings, floors, everything around. These two lenses would capture it all. So how would you view things in this camera? Why was it out there? Well, this was released around the time of the Samsung Galaxy S7 phone. And a big pre-order bonus of this phone across the world was the Gear VR headset. You'd put the phone in and get transported into a virtual world. Now when I picked up the phone I thought, oh, this is going to be a bit of a gimmick, I'm not going to like this, let's just try it out once, maybe chuck it to the side. I was actually blown away when I first put the headset on and I was like in this sort of space situation of stars and all sorts flying about. And I really enjoyed it and I thought, oh wow, and I was looking at videos that came preloaded with it and images and of course the games on it as well, and I thought this is really nifty. And then there was announcements that Samsung were going to bring out this camera and you could take photos and then relive the photos and the videos inside of the headset. And I said, oh, what a great combination. But unfortunately, on release, the price was a little bit out of my price range. It was £350, and this was something untested, something you never knew about, and something it was really hard to like to demo. How would you see how these photos looked on, to say, looking in your PC or looking on a browser on your phone, sort of thing? Maybe I should have brought some loads of sample photos that you could have put into the Gear VR. That might have helped. But that came out quite early that year, and then later on, Black Friday came around, and there was some big discounts, and I was very lucky to get the camera for Christmas that year, and I could not wait. And next day, Boxing Day, I was out there taking time lapses, taking photos, trying it out, exporting it back to my phone, and then putting it onto the headset to relive that day. This little thing became my go-to holiday camera, and everywhere I went on holiday, I was out there with my stick up, pointing this above my head, so I was directly under it, which was the advice at the time. That was the instructions: put it on a selfie stick, put it high up, put it above your head, so that you were directly underneath it, so it would capture you a bit less. And yeah, getting in, coming home, and instead of boring people with here's my slides of my holiday photos that you used to see all the time in old sitcoms and comedy films, you could then say, hey, put this headset on, fiddle about with menus, and yeah, oh look, it's us. You're inside New York. You're in New York City. You're in Madison Square Garden. Yes, yeah. Oh, you can see me underneath. Ah, so it was good fun. And funny enough, when I was on holidays as well, I would see people using the camera. On my trip to New York in 2017 and Madison Square Garden tour, there was another chap there. Couldn't speak much English, but we both acknowledged that we had our 360 cameras. And then when I was reviewing some videos and footage to show in this video today, I spotted another chap who had the camera as well. And I was like, oh, there's at least three of us out there. How could this camera not have been a huge success? So yes, why wasn't it a huge success? I think a big thing was compatibility. You would have to transfer the photos via app to your phone or a Windows PC, and the phones were limited to Galaxy phones. I think it was S6, S7, then it would be the ones above that, S7, S8 in the future. But then that would stop as well. The newer phones, the app does not work at all on it, and you have to go with the hard-working guys over at XDA who have been taking the app apart and reprogramming it so it works on modern phones. Without them, there'd be no ways to stitch these now. The other way was to put it onto your Windows PC, and that software has been discontinued now. You get an activation code for it now, but the servers are down for it, so you really are limited in how you were stitching these. This is the 2016 model. The 2017 model came with iOS support, so you can then use it with your iPhones, but it feels odd looking back now. They actually brought this out, and this did not work at all with an iPhone. In the 2017 version, I believe the app doesn't work anymore either, so if you do have a 2017 one, it's just a paperweight now as well. It was also pretty fiddly, as you can guess, to use. Again, you would use your phone as a viewfinder, so you'd be using the app, because I guess you see everything around you, but you'd still need to try and position it properly, making sure that it is what you want to capture. And so all of my photos, a lot of my videos, I can see myself in the shots. I'm looking down and pressing a phone button, looking at a phone screen. I mean, there are buttons you can press to take photos, and you could have like a 5 second timer, so that was pretty useful. Press click, get in position in 5 seconds. But to see what you're doing, you then had to have the app as well, and then you wouldn't see the full thing until you maybe put it into your VR headset. And I think another thing that let it down as well is how would you share these pictures? How would you share these videos? So you could put some, I think you could add them to Facebook, you could add it to YouTube, and then you could drag around with your browser, and it's not the greatest thing. And like some people in the past have uploaded their videos, and if you load up the YouTube app on the TV, you're not getting very far with it. And being its first gen video support, the resolutions, it's just not high enough. So these came out, it's like, oh yeah, 4K footage, and even there are newer 360 cameras. We'll talk about that later as well. But it's like, oh yeah, we're now 4K, we're 8K. That resolution is having to be spread across this whole 360-degree photo. It's not just your little rectangular photo. It's been spread in this whole giant circle, so it can look pretty low res in places. But you'd think, oh, version 1, it's just how we get started off. It'll get better in version 2, and version 2 for photos is actually lower resolution. And then after that, Samsung gave up. There was no version 3. They're out of the game, and the leading consumer 360 cameras now are by Insta360, and they've recently released the X4 camera with 8K capabilities. But again, I've been watching some footage of the X4 on YouTube, and it still doesn't seem to be that highest video quality because it's getting spread across the giant canvas, which is a shame because I was thinking I am going on a big holiday later this year, and it's like, oh, I would love to capture some more 360 stuff. Should I pick up a new camera? But I think I'm going to give this one its final chance. It's time to sunset. We'll go out there and celebrate the good old times. We'll take some more photos and videos on that. So yeah, so when this camera was coming out, the big selling point was immersion. It was you take your 360 photo and you could relive it with VR headset. And if you did put it in your browser, you could drag about the mouse and look around in 360 and look all around the place. But the new tech now, it's not about that immersion. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of stuff on the Insta360 adverts. I don't think there's any mentions of, oh, you can take a photo and video and then stick in a VR headset and it's as if you're there. Instead, they position it as like being a personal drone, or like you pretend you're in a video game. They've got huge selfie sticks. They're selling like a 3 meter stick. Stick out your car, attach it to your back, and then you get that sort of third person views. And it's all about shooting and then going into that edit. Like, don't need to worry about where you're pointing the camera. We're capturing everything, and afterwards, you can use the app and reframe. So it's all about the sort of action cam, going snowboarding and catching all these angles. When you're doing a big trick and stuff, you can then make the camera swing round and like get really cool effects and stuff. And then that's easy enough to share on things like TikTok. And again, when this came out, there was no such thing as TikTok back then, so you weren't doing that there. And they've got pretty amazing tech. So they've got a system called the invisible selfie stick. So again, when I said with this, you were always told to try, if you're going to be in the photo, so hold it up above your head and then try and cut yourself out as much as possible with that, with you being underneath. But then to 360, they're just like, oh yeah, hold it out, do whatever you want, and then in our software, we detect the selfie stick and we just remove it. So, oh, this is great stuff. So it does make you think, oh, if Samsung had just kept at it a bit, kept for a few more generations, could we have had some cool tech like that as well? Another cool feature in the new Insta360 as well is a bullet time mode, and we'll show you some demos now. So they've got, it's like a little sort of string, or stick you hang under a camera, and it swings around your head and takes bullet time footage and processes in the app. And it's like, yeah, that was it. Maybe Samsung were trying to also sell you on being in the ecosystem for the Gear VR, maybe buying apps for it as well, and buying accessories. And then there's like, oh, we'll see the photos in the headset. Meanwhile, maybe the true value of these cameras as well, the cool things that you could do without any other camera, and not being stuck in the VR headset, but sharing it in 2D flat, but with really cool angles and really cool effects. I think we've talked enough about the device itself, so let's have a look at some footage and photos I've taken over the years. So this is one of the first photos I ever took on the Gear 360. This is me the day after Christmas on Boxing Day 2016. I've got my phone in my hand, operating the shutter. I've got my selfie stick with the camera hanging up. I'm at Hengersby Head, near Bournemouth. Look at that, captured some nice, the sun was beginning to set, and captured some nice skies there at the night. And the path. Nice to see there. Yeah, really good shots in the sky there. So yeah, on the phone I can scroll about, looking around. Ooh. And I can also switch views as well, so let's have a look at round. This became quite a popular way to look at 360 photos as well, and it still is. It's used quite a lot of the Insta3X promotionals. So we have a little planet there. For some reason the phone app likes to just spin around in itself. I don't know why it does that. Just need to turn that off. Trying to get it to go right that way. There we are, on our tiny planet, as it were called. And you can export that as an image and share that. I think my Instagram profile picture is a tiny planet. Moving on now, we're now in my hotel room in New York. This is actually in Long Island, looking out over to Manhattan. And you can see one of the issues here, quite bad exposure. But we were huddled up in the bathroom. So I had my phone out, controlling the shutter, hiding in the bathroom. And then a tripod on the bed, taking that shot. So you could see one of the big uses of these was for tours of selling houses, hotel rooms, and there's still a lot of software and people looking at the 360 subreddits looking for advice on cameras to do real estate tours. So that's become one of the useful functions of a 360 camera. And let's go into our round view as well. So yeah, quite cool perspective looking around the hotel room. So you could see in that previous image, the hotel had a good view from Long Island of Manhattan. And if we spin around here, we're on the hotel roof now. Look at that. Outstanding. Not a hotel anymore, apparently. Can't believe that, because it must have been so popular getting these great views. I mean, you had a little bit of a trek to get to Manhattan. It did have a shuttle bus, but yeah, shame about that. And you can see my tripod there in the shadows. And where am I? I'm probably hiding behind this building here, or hiding behind that little shelf. But this really felt like, oh, this is some cool stuff you can do here. We can zoom in and see the buildings. And let's go to our round view as well. So that's pretty cool. I like that. Continuing in New York, and we're at Grand Central Station now. And I think the stars and stripes look really good here on my phone screen. I think the colours look really good here. But what I find funny about this photo, and I mentioned it in the video, we've got this guy. And he has also got a Gear 360 camera. So he's pressing the top button there. Hopefully he's preparing it for like the 5-second timer or so, and then he's going to put it above the top of his head, because otherwise a lot of his photo is going to be of his jacket. But yeah, he's got his tripod, so yeah, it looks like he knows what he's doing there. So I do wonder, was he coming up to speak to me or something? But no, I did not talk to him at the time. And here's one of the flaws here. So the exposure gets lost with the bright lights. And yeah, I think this is around the stitching of the camera. So you've got the two lenses, so there will be a stitching line in the middle when it brings it together. And yeah, loss of detail there. But I love this shot, and look at the ceiling. You can still get details of what's up there on the ceiling. It's not just mush. And if we go to that round view, I think that's pretty cool. I really like the sort of the tiny planet mode. Look at that one as well. Could hang that up. So this time we're going to look at a video this time, and it's switched into the planet mode. This time we're at the top of the rock. We'll start that up again. It is fiddly viewing these back. We'll go to that stretch mode again, so we've got controls of rotation. You can see Central Park. Because you could hear the wind, and the wind was moving about that tripod there, so yeah, stabilisation not the greatest there. And on the other side here we can see Empire State Building. But yeah, really fun day that. A bit of an unusual one here this time. We are on a boat trip in New York. I'm standing here with my tripod, and this is nearly a 10-minute long video. I'll see holding that up. But let's go to that planet view this time. Look at that. I wish I did more interesting things like that. Let's flip it the other way around. Ooh. So yeah, you can get some really nice effects with a 360 camera. So yeah, one more shot from New York, and it's because this guy here in Madison Square Garden also had the Gear 360 camera as well. And I hope he's still enjoying his photos to this day. Now we're in Amsterdam, and I seem to be having a great time with this horse up here on this lookout tower. And let's go back to that round view up here. So I feel like the colours of the sky this takes. Stop rotating round. Let's go that other way. There's a cool shot. And now another one from that same tower, but this time I've been experimental. I'm not holding up the camera above my head. Instead I've put it through this gap in the fence, and now I can see all the way down there. So yeah, that was good fun. And let's switch us again to the round. Look at that. It's almost art, isn't it? I do wish this would stop auto-rotating. But yeah, the two sides, behind bars. Put that in the gallery. And we're going to take one more from New York, and this time at Times Square, so you can see quite blown out highlights with those giant light screens everywhere. But this is a time lapse. We'll spin around. People enjoying themselves, having a great time. And you can see all around. And you can see down here. Oh, not the longest of videos. And it's fiddly, we have to open up the video player to then see. Let's go on to our planet world. And again, stabilization, bit of wind, it's moving about, it's jerking. Just a shame. If that was perfectly steady, that would have been cool. And we'll go back to the start again. Let's go to that stretch mode and let's have a little look around. So we can see this chap here has got his sort of gorilla pod. You'll be and maybe doing time lapses as well with his 2D's camera. But yes, look at that. It's great if in later versions, if they did do later versions, and it would help with the blown out lights. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this look around selection of my 360 photos and videos. So, where is the Gear 360 in 2024? Well, it's been completely abandoned by Samsung. As I said before, if you were to pick up one of these cameras, there's quite a lot floating about at eBay and some other stores for really, really cheap. You might not get too far with it for stitching wise. If you've got an Android phone, you can get the new build of the software made by the guys over the XDA Developers Forums. Again, you'd have to have your phone set to install unknown apps and then trust that as well. But that brings the photos and footage through. But yeah, the PC app, I have it on my PC. There was also troubles getting it working on Windows 10 before they brought the servers down. But again, hobbyists are out there patching these things. So I've got the software working, but if my PC breaks down or I get a new PC, I will not be able to convert that anymore. So as I say, I'm going to take this on my holidays this year. But I think that could be the last stand for the Gear 360, and then it can sit nicely on this on this shelf, because I think it still looks pretty cool, pretty nice. And I was clever back in the day. I did stock up. This has removable batteries, so I've got the little port here, and I also use the SD cards. So I've got my battery, and I've also got two spares, and I keep on regular rotation, making sure they're charged up a bit, so don't go bad, because I don't know if you're getting a replacement battery for these anymore. So another interesting thing around the time this was released was that with the 360, I said before, the spreading that resolution around in 360, and then Google came out and said, like, oh, how'd you do that for? Why would you want 360? Why do you want to look behind you? What? And it's flat, so when you're putting it in your headset, you're just seeing a flat image. That's not immersive. What you want 3D. What you want 180. Let's use the same sort of sensors, same tech, and then wouldn't be stretching it as much. You'd just be doing 180, just be seeing what's in front of you. But now it's in 3D. So they were pushing, and it was a bit of a VR camera war, I guess. So you had Samsung with the Gear 360 and the Gear VR. Then you had Google with Cardboard, and then it was Daydream, which you might not remember. You might remember Cardboard. Cardboard was very popular. But Google Daydream, and then Google VR 180. And yeah, I got sucked into that too, and I have one of the only VR 180 cameras that was released, so we'll check that out next time. We'll delve into the world of the VR 180. But thanks for watching, and if you had a Gear 360 or experienced a Gear 360, leave some comments below. Or if you've got any more questions about the camera, or maybe trying to use it in 2024, I can do my best. Leave a comment. But yeah, thank you for watching. We'll check out next time for more Forgotten Tech.